Hi, I'm Raborn Johnson for Sample Library Review, and today I'm checking out Signals Blue by Audio Brewers. Signals Blue is all about textures. However, while most other textural contact libraries focus on loading you up with presets, Signals Blue is all about giving the user a small palette of rich textures along with a flexible sound design engine through which to create something unique. Signals Blue requires the full version of Kontakt 6.2.1 or above. It downloads as 28.3 gigabytes and includes over 15,000 samples taken from 10 raw atmospheres that are delivered in chord voicings and multi-samples. 50 presets are also included. Signals Blue is available from Audio Brewers for €89, but is currently available for the intro price of €49 until March 1st, 2021. Hey everyone, today I'm checking out Signals Blue by Audio Brewers. Those of you who have been on the channel for a while might remember a few weeks ago when I reviewed the original library by Audio Brewers called The Upright, which was all about an upright piano being deeply sampled with an excellent sound design engine that you could manipulate the sounds in all sorts of different ways. There were prepared layers, there were regular layers, just a lot of flexibility with that engine. Well, that same engine is back, but this time instead of the focus being on an instrument that sits in the front of your track, it's really about that instrument or those textures that sit in the background of your track. So Signals Blue is all about creating customized, unique textures that can really sit in between the layers of your tracks, especially if you have sparse instrumentation on your track or you've got some solo instruments such as solo strings or solo piano. Signals Blue is all about letting you create interesting textures that can kind of fill out your track. And whereas other libraries might really focus on giving you a whole lot of presets, Signals Blue gives you a curated small number of sounds that you can then run through the engine and manipulate in all sorts of different ways. This is a very, very deep engine, and we'll get into that and show you kind of how it works and how to really open it up and begin to create your own interesting background textures. So you'll see on the left-hand side of the library, we have 4 different instruments. We have textures A, textures B, textures AB, and multi-samples. So we're going to go into these a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and play through some of the presets just to give you a feel for what the library is like. There's 50 different presets to start out from. And then we're going to dive into each of the different instruments here and begin to build our own sounds so you can really get a feel for what we're doing. So let's go into the presets folder to start out with, and I'm just going to go through a few of these to give you a feel for what textures is all about. Check out the graphic that pops up here. Oh, well, it'll do it when I go back. It's not on the presets. This is a really cool graphic when it first opens up. So let's go ahead and just start with some of the presets here. So you'll notice the first thing that you'll see when I open this up is not only all of the different layered elements, but down here, this is really what textures is about as well. It's about giving you controllable tonality. So you can see here, you've got all of the different keys that you can play in. So I can say I want to play in the key of D minor. And when I do that, you're going to see that I have several different options. As I play here, I'm going to play a note. You're going to see that I'm in A minor in the blue keys, but when I jump up to the red keys, I get into some more complex layers. Same chord, but in this time it's an A7, an A minor 7. Now, when we get into some of the other ones, and I think this might be in the major, Let's see here. Nope, it'll be in one of the other ones. As we look in the layers later, we're going to get into the tonality more, but you'll begin to see that there's actually some really cool things that audio brewers have done with that, where they've actually laid out the keyboard in 1-4-5 in some instances for even. And as you move up the scale, you can actually play more complex chords. So really, really cool. They've kind of done the work for you on this. But again, let's continue to move through some of the presets. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, I will call attention here, this is the Fresco Pad. This is just super, super cool. The Fresco Pad is an XY pad, or an XY pad based on the XY axis with the different layers. And you can choose, of course, what you want to be on the X axis, what you want to be on the Y axis. But where this is really unique is not only can you control it with your mouse or with your finger if you're using a touch screen, but this actually records up to 2 hours of recorded patterns. So whatever pattern you draw in here, it's automatically going to remember it all the way up for 2 hours. So you could do a 2-hour track. You could do multiple albums and this would remember the entire thing. Again, we're in the presets, so we're just going to let it do its thing here. Okay, here's a perfect example where it's laying out the 1-4-5 format. You'll see here that in the blue keys you have the 1 chord, the red keys you have the 4, the teal keys you have the 5, and then in these green keys here, it's actually the root note or the bass note of that particular chord. So what's really cool is as you're moving through this, and I'm going to go into the A minor scale. Let's start there. So as I go through this, as I move through these, it's going to always be the 1 chord, but what's so interesting about this is as I push each of these notes, it's actually going to be a different variation of the 1 chord. So that 1 chord will become more complex. It'll start as just an A minor at the bottom, but by the time I get to the top, I'll have a very complex layer. These are all done in triads. So let's give you some examples here. And when you have the Fresco Pad off, it actually shows you the chord. So I've got a minor 6 there. I mean, you can see you can get in some really, really complex chords, but let's play a 1-4-5 pattern so you get a feel for it. And of course, you know, you've got the key switches here as well to do basically the same thing you're doing here, but you know, to pick something like a 145 pattern or a 125, you have to do it up here, and then that controls what the key switches are. Another thing that you'll notice when we get into the engine here in a moment is, for instance, this is called old tape on the preset. There's actually a really good tape delay on here that you can do some of those really great tape delay effects with this engine and have some great tape delay backgrounds. Really, really cool. That's one of the things I love about Signals Blue too, is you can notice as I was moving through the mod wheel here, just the smallest, slightest movement of the mod wheel would completely change the tonality and introduce new elements. And I'll show you how that works as we dive into the engine. Just some really, really complex patterns that you're creating here. This is way beyond just the normal, you know, the normal background pads or atmospheres that you might find in another library. All right, let's do one more. We'll do Untuned. That can just really create some underscore magic. I mean, that's just, there's so many possibilities there. All right, let's go back to the instruments. So let's go to Textures AB. Watch the cool graphic that pops up here. I love this. It's the little things, people. Look at that. How cool is that? It's almost like a jellyfish. So those of you who are familiar with Audio Brewers, again, you'll notice this little hamburger menu. When you click that, you've got the 5 different elements, and in Textures A and Textures B, you have 5 elements each, 5 layers each that are differing, and then in Textures AB, you have all 10 layers put together, all 10 sound sources, but whereas with textures A or textures B, you can stack those in 3 different layers. When you do the AB, you can only do it in 2 different layers. Then when we get to the multi-samples, you can do it in as many as 5. So just lots of possibilities. So let's play around here and give you an idea of what you have. We're going to audition the different sound sources here, and then we're going to combine them and begin to show you how the engine works. So let's start with the first one. Okay. And then so that's 3 soft layers, and then you've got 2 grainy layers. All right, so that gives you an idea of the starting point. So let's go ahead and combine the first one with the second, and then let's do this grainy layer here. And then this lets you decide which layer you want to place these on. So I'm going to place them all on different layers. We've got the first one, layer 1, then layer 2, and then we're going to jump down here for layer 3. So we've got 3 different layers going on here, and you can see when you go over to your layers option, your layers menu, it's going to show you what's active for each of the layers. You can solo those at any time, change the volume, you know, all of that. So where this really gets fun, let's go ahead and start with the first sound. So that's all 3 layered together. That's all fine and dandy, but where it gets really fun is in the modulation and the effects. So here right now we have ADSR, which is going to be applied to all 4, and we have dynamics. Currently it's applied to all 3. This is just letting you go through the different dynamic layers, but where you can have some real fun. Let's get in here and add, for instance, a gate. Let's do a gate, and let's maybe do it something like this. And we're only going to put that on the grainy layer. So let's take off layer 1 and 2, and I've got it synced to my DAW now. Maybe let's put that on an 8th note. Let's see what that sounds like now. Let's turn up that 3rd layer. Let's turn up the intensity on that, and you'll really hear it come in. There you go. So now go back to the layers, and okay, so that's our first effect. Let's add one more global effect. Let's do, how about we do a volume LFO, and we're only going to do that on the first layer. We're going to sync it to our DAW. We're going to speed this one up a little bit and make it a 16th note. We're going to really intensify it. Let's see what we've got when we do that. Okay, that's nice. Now let's go to the effects. Oops, let's go back to layers there and solo that. Now the effects, you can add 5 different effects here, and this gets just kind of crazy. There's a sequencer on each of the effects, and you can choose what you're allowing that sequencer to control. So for instance, I'm going to put a formant layer. You can see there's a lot of different effects here. You've got delays, you've got the tape delay I was mentioning earlier, vintage delay, diffusion delay, you've got some plate reverbs and convolution reverbs. I'm sorry those fall off the screen so you can't see those there. But you've got transients and a compressor, distortion, bit crush, all sorts of things. So let's put the formant on, and I'm going to turn the sequencer on. We're going to leave it on 8 steps, and I'm going to make the formant kind of go, let's see, let's start it here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move this to 16 steps. Let's start the formant here, and then we're going to kind of go down, and we're going to work our way back up. Okay? So I'm going to turn that on to the size of the formant. So here I'm telling, with this little black square, I'm telling it to control the size of the formant based on what I've drawn into the sequencer. So let's solo that layer and listen to that. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What if we, I wonder if we were to do something a little more. There we go. I like that a little better. And you know what? We can also put that on the talk piece. Or on the sharpness. Let's take the talk off and see what sharpness has. Okay, so now let's do one more thing on here. Let's add that nice tape delay. And let's only do that on, let's see here. How about we do it on that grainy layer? We'll do it on layer 3. So what we can do is we can actually, let's take the format off of these two, and let's take the tape delay off of these two. So now you can see we've got kind of a mixed bag of effects here. Let's listen to that on the format, or excuse me, on the third layer. Add some nice flutter in there, little feedback. All right, now let's listen to it together and see what we've made. We've made something a little crazy. You could just have all sorts of fun with this. Okay, let's go over to Textures B. We're going to build something there really quickly, and then we'll take you through the 145 on that as well. And maybe this time we'll introduce the Fresco Pad. So let's audition these layers. Okay. Okay, so this time we're going to do these 3 layers, and we're going to make sure we have those on individual layers, those 3 sound sources on individual layers. Let's go ahead and go to the modulation. This time I'm going to do a pitch on the first layer, and I'm going to pitch that down an octave, so 12 semitones. And then let's put a, you know what, let's do something kind of fun and put a pitch LFO on the second layer. So let's take that off, and we're going to make it kind of harsh. Here you're going to make it pretty intense. Let's see what that sounds like. That's kind of crazy. Okay, this might be weird, but we're going to give it a try. All right, let's throw some reverb on here. Maybe let's do a plate reverb. Let's turn it up pretty good. And let's only put that on, I don't know, maybe just layers 2 and 3. And then let's add a bit of maybe saturation, and let's maybe do that on layer 1. All right, just for kicks and giggles, let's see what we've got. Okay, now let's introduce the Fresco Pad. So just hit the little plus icon here, and I'm going to draw a pattern. Again, you can do this with your finger if you have a touch screen, but I'm just going to draw a pattern on here as I play, and then we'll go back and play that again and see what we have. So let me take this off. I'm going to clear it out. All right, here we go. You know, one thing I forgot to tell you is that you actually have to assign things to the XY axis. Now here you can see I have attack, release, low pass, and high pass. I'm going to change this up a little bit. One thing I love about this engine is you can actually, I mean, the customization options are just kind of endless. As you're going through the different layers, the different effects, you can actually go in here and you can select any button that you want to put on the front panel, up to 4 different buttons. So here is what I'm going to do. On this one, I'm going to take the output of saturation. I'm going to hit Shift and click, and I'm going to say I want that as my first button. And then I'm going to go to the modulators, and for the pitch LFO, I'm going to go Shift click on the intensity and add it as the second button. And then I want to go for, let's see, let's go back to the effects, and maybe I want to work with the plate reverb a little bit. Shift click on the plate reverb, and let's take it off over here. We'll go back to the main. You'll see that those are on now. So I'm going to assign each of these to an axis, and I'm going to just leave the high pass off. So let's see what we've got here. We'll clear out the pattern so we can start from scratch. All right. I mean, is that cool or is that cool? Now, let's do this. Let's put this in A minor. I don't know why I'm stuck on A minor tonight, but I am. So we're going to do the 1-4-5 again, and this time in A minor. And we're just going to let this loop, and it's going to continue to play as I change the different keys. So let's start and see what we've got here. Just really, really wild. So that's how it works to create your own sounds, especially with the tonality. But let's jump over to the multi-samples. I'm going to skip past A and B. I'll show it to you really quickly, just so you can see what it's about. Again, instead of having 3 layers, you have 2 layers, but you have all 10 sound sources that you can stack together to create even more complex sounds. But if you go over to the multi-samples, this is something I personally love. The multi-samples, not only do you get kind of the best of both worlds in getting 10 sounds, but instead of 3 layers, you get 5 layers. So you can just do some crazy action with these 5 layers. And one of the things I also love about this is some folks are probably not going to be in love with the tonality piece. It is really cool because you can just do some really cool complex chords that you probably wouldn't think of yourself just by experimenting with 1 keys. But one of the things I love about the multi-sample patch is it's just wide open. If you only want to have 1 key, you can just have 1 key. If you want to just have 2 keys, you can do that. This is as you play, so you can play whatever you want to here. So let's create one last sound before we wrap up the review. Let's audition a couple of these and see what we create together. I like that one. All right, so I really liked 1. I think it was 3 and 2. And was there a grainy one? Let's go and solo that. I'm missing something there. Okay, we're going to do those 4 sounds. So we're going to go 1, 2, we're going to do 3 on that one, and we're going to do 4 on this one. Just make sure I got them 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So now that's our starting sound. So let's add some modulation in here. I'm going to replace the velocity layer with, let's just do a volume LFO again. This time let's make something more smooth. And we're going to put that on the first layer. Okay. And we're just going to skip over straight to the effects. And this time, let's go ahead and we're going to turn a little bit of distortion on that second layer. And let's go ahead and take it off of everything but number 2 and see what we've got. Ooh, that's wild. I like that. Oh yeah. Just going to put just a little bit on there. Oh yeah, I like that. Now here's where we can have some fun. We're going to use that for our Fresco Pad. So I'm going to shift click on here. I'm going to make that my first knob because I want to use that on my XY axis. All right, so now let me go back to the layers and unsolo that. Now let's go to, maybe the diffusion delay. And we'll put that only on maybe layer 3. And I think we should kind of have some fun with that. No, we're going to leave that. We're going to do it like this. Let's solo that layer and see what it sounds like. Oh yeah, let's make it even bigger. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Okay. We're going a little crazy here just for the sake of comparison so you can see kind of what's going on. Now let's add this analog and let's go and do that to, I don't know, layer 4 maybe? Let's do layer 4. And let's solo that up so we can hear what's going on. Oh yeah. Let's shift click there and add that to the front panel. That could be really fun on the XY axis. Okay, I think we've got our sound here. So let's see what our starting point is. Oh, I guess I should turn all the layers on, right? And I'm going to turn the distorted layer down a little bit. Okay, now let's have some fun. That's sounding good. All right, I'm going to start drawing a pattern here. Let's clear this out. And if you leave the retrigger on, the retrigger will just start the cycle of the pattern over again every time you press a new key. Oh, I always forget to assign the XY axis. So let's do X here, Y here. I'm not going to turn on low pass or dynamics. We're just going to do these two. I mean, I don't know about you, but that is just so freaking cool to me. The rate of the delay on that analog delay, changing that rate and how it just kind of introduces this new voice every time you do it, I just think that is so cool. So let me just play a little something, and we're just going to let it loop, and we'll let this end out the video. I mean, that is just really cool. Okay, one last thing I want to show you is the speed control. This is the speed of the pattern, so if you want to go really crazy, let's turn the speed up, and I'll play a little bit for that as well. And that, friends, is Signals Blue by Audio Brewers. Just an excellent, excellent textural library that can just fill in those gaps in the sparse tracks that you're creating, your ambient tracks, your instrumental tracks. Just really a lot of fun to play with. I like libraries like this that just really get your creative juices flowing. If you're someone who wants to be loaded down with presets for atmospheres and pads, this is probably not the library for you. But if you're someone who likes to really go in there and turn the dials and play around, one thing I love about this is it's not only a sound designer's playground, but for those of us who, don't go heavily into sound design, this is a great kind of place to get your feet wet. It's a very easy library to operate. It's very intuitive, very easy to figure out. So, you can dive in and you can create your own custom textures without a lot of effort. Thanks for checking out Signals Blue with me today. So what do you think? Do you like this approach to creating your own textural sounds? Do you like the flexibility of the Fresco Pad? Comment below and let us know your thoughts. Please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Also, be sure to check out SampleLibraryReview.com for news, reviews, and our weekly deal compressor.